And as we begin a special series of reports over the next few weeks honoring Black history, there's an effort to revitalize one of the oldest towns in Oklahoma. Langston is home to the state's only historically Black university. But despite great growth recently, it's still considered a food desert. News 4's Lauren Daniels tells us about the new push to bring business to Langston and how you can put your own stamp on this tiny town.
Leadership here in Langston is starting from the ground up, hoping that paving the streets will pave the way to success.
It would mean a lot because I grew up here. There's so much that we can accomplish.
Mary Boyles is the mayor's wife, the First Lady of Langston. It's a title she takes seriously, spearheading a movement to revitalize the town her husband leads.
We'll spruce it up, put a big bow on it, and make everybody proud.
Langston is best known for Langston University, Oklahoma's only HBCU. Mayor Michael Boyles says their town is now considered a food desert.
It's a 22-mile trek just to get a tomato.
Healthcare, food access, and access to education. That's some of the basic things that people need in a community, and those are pretty much all the things that are kind of lacking for Langston.
To attract new businesses like grocery stores, city leadership understands they need better infrastructure. In February, Mrs. Boyles and her dedicated team are starting the Pave the Way project. For anywhere from $45,000 to $120,000, you can pay to repair a street and have that street named after you.
I mean, anybody would love to see their name on the street, right?
City leaders say it's important to not only serve their population, but also restore Langston to its former glory, if not better. In Langston, Lauren Daniels, Oklahoma's News 4.
And we have more information on the Pave the Way project inside this story at KFOR.com. And as we begin,
boom shakalaka!
Great day. Welcome to the House of Cons. I'm Black Jack. Try boy with me one more time. Salute to everybody in the house. Check it out. We got another good show lined up. We back in Indian territory, Managa. And today we talking about Langston. Langston, Oklahoma, to be specific. Salute. Do me a favor, everybody. Hit the like, subscribe, and share the video. We always bringing the fresh content strictly for my Nagas. And we talking about Langston, Oklahoma. We talking about Indian territory. We talking about all black state of Oklahoma, Indian territory. Salute. Because when we say Indian territory, we got to understand who it is and what it is we talking about. Like I said in today's episode, we talking about Langston, Oklahoma in particular, and we're looking at the thumbnail from a third eye point of view, not a bird eye point of view, and we see Oklahoma territory on the map in the background, and in the foreground we see the image, a carved statue of an American Indian. Salute. A real American Indian. That's a historical statue from the I believe it was from the 1600s. I have to check my records to be for sure, but yeah, I think that's a 17th century statue of an American Indian. It's authentic, and it gives a very telling view of what the American Indians look like. And today we're talking the town of Langston in Indian territory. And we got a series we've been running about Indian territory, and just to educate our own people and everybody else on everything about Indian territory and the people that were in Indian territory, who their descendants are today. Salute. And the proof is in the pudding. I mean, the historical evidence is everywhere if you just open your eyes. So let's get into it. We're talking about Langston, Oklahoma. And before we start this episode about Langston, Oklahoma, and Indian territory, like I say, we've been doing a series, and we got to always start it off right. We got to always start it off right every time we do this series. So it's something that I wanted to touch on. And let me pull my records up so I could touch on what I wanted to touch on. I hope everybody having a good weekend. I hope your family doing well. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Now I've been pulling this up every episode that we do this, and for some reason today it looked like the hijack trying to hide it. But let's see if I can do it another way, because I've been pulling this up over and over again. But for now, for some reason they want to change the search. So let me change how I type for it. Because like I say, we talking Indian Territory, we talking Langston, Oklahoma. Hey, salute one general in the house. I want to make sure everybody know who and what we're talking about. So I like to pull up evidence that back up what I'm talking about. Like I said, if you're new and it's your first time over here, that's just the way we rock. We got the image in the background and the image in the foreground laid out for you to connect the dots and see who the true American Indian is. And it definitely wasn't a red man. We also bring up literature to back up what we're talking about. And we always going to start these Indian Territory series off right in the same way. From newspapers.com by Ancestry. An article clip from the Topeka Plain Dealer. The Topeka Plain Dealer, Friday, November 18, 1910. Grandfather Clause in Oklahoma. Wealthy Negroes. Wealthy Negroes. Are denied the right of franchise by act of the new state. What new state? The new state of Oklahoma, formed in 1907. The largest Negro population in the Creek Nation. So we know who we're talking about when we're talking about Oklahoma Indian Territory and American Indians. We're talking about the American Negroes. Now, when we stroll down, just to remind everybody, when they're talking about the town of Wildcat, Oklahoma, which is now being called Grayson, Oklahoma, white men are warned to depart before sundown. This entire community of Negroes numbers probably 15,000 souls. It was here that occurred the Henrietta Race War and the Crazy Snake Rebellion, the last of which was heralded in the summer of 1900 as a big Indian war. This entire community of Negroes numbers probably 15,000 souls. In the summer of 1900, it was heralded as a big Indian war. In neither case was there any great trouble. One Negro was killed. Because we want to set the record straight. We're talking about Indian Territory and who was there in the big Indian wars. This proof is not on the Dawes Rolls. The Dawes Roll is fake. This is the real proof, the historical evidence of who the American Indians are, the indigenous people of the Americas. So we're talking Indian Territory. We got all the tribes laid out, from the Creek Nation to the Chickasaw to the Cherokee and everything in between. And most people on the earth today didn't know that Oklahoma was historically a black state. The historic black Oklahoma. And this historic black state of Oklahoma had over 50 all black towns. There were no red men. There were no red men. 50 all black, so-called all black towns of Oklahoma. And we're talking about Langston today. And if you look, Langston is right here, right above Douglas and Iconium. We see Langston. We see the town of Langston. And if we compare the maps, Langston should be sitting right there in the unassigned Indian Territory, or in the Kickapoo Territory, somewhere in there. The all-black town of Langston. Hannibal B. Johnson wrote this. He's an author, attorney, and a consultant. The All Black Towns in Oklahoma by Hannibal B. Johnson. December 31st, 2004. He wrote this almost 20 years ago. My book, Acres of Aspiration, recently referenced in the New York Times. Hold on, let me switch up the view so I can read this clearly and everybody can see it at the same time. My book, Acres of Aspiration, recently referenced in the New York Times, explores the root of the all black towns, all indigenous people, all American Indian towns in Indian Territory. Their formation, success / failure, and prospects for the future. Take the time to learn your history. Take the time to learn your history. Prominently in Kansas, then principally in Oklahoma, all Negro towns founded by Negroes, seekers mushroomed in the post-Reconstruction era. Weary Southern migrants formed their own frontier communities, largely self-sustaining. These Negro Indian towns offer hope of full citizenship, hope of self-governance, and hope of full participation through land ownership in the American dream. Despite an auspicious beginning, the all-Negro Indian town movement crested between 1890 and 1910. The American economy had shifted from agriculture to industrial during this period. This and a host of other social and economic factors ultimately sealed the fates of these unique historic oases. Many perished, most faded, only the strong survived. The few that remain serve as testaments to the human spirit and monuments to power of hope, faith, and community. Both literally and figuratively, Oklahoma's pioneering forefathers and foremothers, our ancestors. Bronze Flat Power Guide in the house, salute. Both literally and figuratively, Oklahoma's pioneering forefathers and foremothers, our ancestors, the pioneers of Indian Territory, planted the trees under whose shade we now sit. The value of their legacy to us, the likes of Boley, Clearview, Langston, Redbird, Rentisville, and Taft can neither be ignored nor underestimated. To these trailblazers, we owe a tremendous debt of gratitude. Oklahoma's all-Negro American Negro Indian towns remain an important part of the American Negro Indian struggle for freedom, justice, and equality. This rich history must be reclaimed and celebrated. Following are some highlights of Oklahoma's all-American Negro Indian town movement from Acres of Aspiration. See how many of these facts do you already know? The push for the all-American Negro Indian towns. American Negro Indian presence in Oklahoma dates back before the 16th century, before Negroes accompanied Spanish explorers to the area. Oklahoma was once considered as the site of an all-American Negro Indian state. Not just 50 all-black towns, it was considered the site of an all-American Indian Negro state. Senator Henry W. Blair of New Hampshire introduced a bill in favor of this proposal. In 1879, American Negro Indians migrated in large numbers from the South to Kansas and other parts of the Midwest. Many American Negro Indians prospered in Oklahoma as members of the various American Indian tribes. American Negro Indian so-called freemen in Oklahoma were known as natives, while American Negro immigrants from other areas, particularly the South, were called Wachina, or state Negroes. Hannibal C. Carter helped establish the Freedmen's Oklahoma Immigration Association in Chicago in 1881. Some of the Sooners who came to Oklahoma in the Great Land Run of 1889 were American Negro Indians, the Sooners. Historically, Oklahoma boasts more all-American Negro Indian towns than any other state. Edwin P. Maccabee, father of the All-American Negro Indian Town movement. Maccabee, or McCabe, is that McCabe? Was for a time the highest ranking American Negro elected state official in Kansas, serving 2 terms as state auditor 1882 to 1886. McCabe was a prominent popular member of the Republican Party in both Kansas and Oklahoma. McCabe lived for a time in Nicodemus, Kansas, one of the early and prominent all-American Negro Indian towns in Kansas. 2 all-American Negro Indian ministers, William Smith and Thomas Harris, conceived the idea of creating an all-American Negro Indian town in Nicodemus, Kansas. McCabe came to Oklahoma in 1889 at the time of the Great Land Run. McCabe founded Langston, Oklahoma, and the Langston City Herald newspaper, a propaganda vehicle to encourage migration to the town. In 1890, McCabe visited with President Benjamin Harrison, intent on convincing him to the wisdom of creating an all-American Negro Indian state in Oklahoma. When Oklahoma became a state in 1907, the first official legislative act was the passage of rigid Jim Crow laws. McCabe filed a lawsuit against such measures. McCabe died a pauper in Chicago on February 23, 1920. McCabe is buried in Topeka, Kansas. In Topeka. Highlights of the all-black, all-American Negro Indian towns in Oklahoma. Booker T. Washington visited Boley, Oklahoma, an all-American Negro Indian town in 1908. Booker T. Washington called Boley, Oklahoma, the most enterprising and in many ways the most interesting of the American Negro Indian towns in the U.S. Members of the gang of Charles Arthur Pretty Boy Floyd were killed after robbing the Boley Bank and killing its president in 1932. Taft, Oklahoma, originally called Twine Indian Territory, changed its name in 1908 in honor of President William H. Taft. Clearview, Oklahoma, was the site of a vibrant so-called back to Africa where you've never been. Langston, Oklahoma is the site of the farthest west of the all-American Negro Indian colleges. Rentersville, Oklahoma is the original home of historian Dr. John Hope Franklin. Rentersville, Oklahoma is the home of guitarist, singer, and noted bluesman D.C. Minner. Rentersville, Oklahoma is the site of a pivotal Civil War conflict, the Battle of Honey Springs, also referred to as the Gettysburg of the West. The first Kansas American Negro Indian Volunteer Infantry Regiment played a key role in the victory of the Federals over the Confederate troops in the Battle of Honey Springs. Lila Foley Davis, elected mayor of Taft in 1973, became the first American Negro Indian female mayor in America. Lila Foley Davis. Lila Foley Davis, elected mayor of Taft in 1973, became the first American Negro Indian female mayor in America. Redbird, Oklahoma reportedly got its name from the fascination of its founder, E.L. Barber, with the number of redbirds in the area. The future of the all-American Negro Indian towns. Cultural tourism is on the rise. The remaining all-black towns are becoming tourist destinations. Both Muskogee Convention and Tourism and Ruddy Seal North Regional Library in Tulsa conduct all-American Negro Indian town tours periodically. The Rudy Seal tour is set for Saturday, June 12, 2004. Contact Kimberly Johnson at Rudy Seal for details. The Oklahoma Historical Society sponsors the All-American Negro Indian Town exhibit. A salute to the All-American Negro Indian Towns. The All-American Negro Indian Town exhibit was housed for a time in the Five Civilized Tribes Museum in Muskogee. The Oklahoma Historical Society History Center and Museum, once completed, will feature an All-American Negro Indian Gallery that will tell the story of the All-American Negro Indian towns. One of the keys to the future success of the remaining All-American Negro Indian towns will be the retention of youth and young adults. Acres of Aspiration is available on my website, www.hannibaljohnson.com, at the Greenwood Cultural Center gift shop and bookstores on the web, at Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. You may also purchase a signed copy by calling me at 585-3216 or 583-1361 or sending an email to me at hjohnsonok@aol.com. And you can share this. Salute. Because we got to understand who we're talking about. We're talking Oklahoma and Indian Territory, in Topeka, in the Kansas Plains. Dealer told us. It kept it honest with us, and it told us that the wealthy Negroes were denied the right of franchise and identity by an act of a new state of Oklahoma, the largest Negro population in the Creek Nation. And we know they talking the Muskogees and all the Negroes. And we know all these spots were American Negro Indian spots. And we knew at Wildcat, white men were warned to depart before sundown. This entire community of American Negro Indians numbered probably 15,000 souls. It was here that occurred the Henrietta Race War and the Crazy Snake Rebellion, the last of which was heralded in the summer of 1900 as a big Negro American Indian War.
If a man is called a blood, what is he? Is he
In a special series of reports over the next few weeks honoring Black history, there's an effort to revitalize one of the oldest towns in Oklahoma. Langston is home to the state's only historically Black university. But despite great growth recently, it's still considered a food desert. News 4's Lauren Daniels tells us about the new push to bring business to Langston and how you can put your own stamp on this tiny town.
Leadership here in Langston is starting from the ground up, hoping that paving the streets will pave the way to success.
It would mean a lot because I grew up here. There's so much that we can accomplish.
Mary Boyles is the mayor's wife, the First Lady of Langston. It's a title she takes seriously, spearheading a movement to revitalize the town her husband leads.
We'll spruce it up, put a big bow on it, and make everybody proud.
Langston is best known for Langston University, Oklahoma's only HBCU. Mayor Michael Boyles says their town is now considered a food desert.
It's a 22-mile trek just to get a tomato.
Healthcare, food access, and access to education. That's some of the basic things that people need in a community, and those are pretty much all the things that are kind of lacking for Langston.
To attract new businesses like grocery stores, city leadership understands they need better infrastructure. In February, Mrs. Boyles and her dedicated team are starting the Pave the Way project. For anywhere from $45,000 to $120,000, you can pay to repair a street and have that street named after you.
I mean, anybody would love to see their name on the street, right?
City leaders say it's important to not only serve their population, but also restore Langston to its former glory, if not better. In Langston, Lauren Daniels, Oklahoma's News 4.
And we have more information on the Pave the Way project inside this story at KFOR.com.
Boom shakalaka!
I salute the old McDonald, Enox 0407, salute the Ellen Eliza Rich, salute the South, salute the Bronze Flat Power Guard, salute the one general, y'all. We out. Peace.